The AFC is loaded. The NFC is not. The Niners may or may not be better than they were last year. I have an opinion about that. But where do you think they currently stand in the rest of the NFC that is kind of weak?
Yeah, so you look at the NFC West first in the division. I think they're second behind the Rams for sure. I give them the nod over Seattle. Again, I'm just keep laughing at them. Cardinals, I'll never take them seriously. I don't care if they won and looked good last year, regular season. Push them away. I think
They
they're
have
right
no
next to
run
them.
game. I
Huh?
was big. I liked them a lot last year, but let's just be frank about what they have. No run game. They can't run the ball. That's a problem. And they're not particularly good when they don't have DeAndre Hopkins, who got suspended.
Yep.
So, yeah, they should be
Kyler Murray,
second
as
in
the
the
season
NFC
goes
West, right?
on, it just keeps. Kyler Murray's at his peak of his powers by in the first
Early
month, and as the
before he
month
gets hurt.
goes by, he dips. He literally is like the literal stock, which is nuts.
Yeah.
So I'll push them. I'll push them like a couple spots after the 49ers. The ones who I actually see who are beyond them is, like I said, the Rams, the Buccaneers.
I would
And
agree.
then I'm gonna
The
go
Rams and
bold and
Bucks are
say maybe
clearly in a
even the
tier
Eagles.
above the rest in the NFC, in my opinion, right now. They have
Yeah.
entrenched starters who've won Super Bowls. The Rams and the
Yes.
Bucks. You can't even argue that. So, where do the Niners factor in after that upper tier?
Yeah, I think that's where you got. I think that's where you got the Eagles challenging them a little bit. I mean, I know they got two teams who have questionable quarterback positions with the 49ers and the Eagles, and at least the 49ers are proving, look, we're just coming off an NFC Championship game. But I
Yeah.
mean, hey, the Eagles played you guys tough last year, tough on the
Without
road.
AJ Brown.
Exactly. So now
Yeah.
you have a team that they even looked, and the Eagles looked better as the season went on. Nick Sirianni is not a joke like some seems he was to be. I thought he was a joke. He's over here
Yeah.
saying some weird stuff at press conferences. And now it's pretty much about like, can Jalen Hurts look a little better and be capable? And so I think those are the three teams. I probably won't put them neck and neck with the Eagles, but those are the two teams for sure. And then Green Bay, I think Green Bay, I'm probably gonna still put neck and neck with the 49ers just because, again, it really depends on where's Trey Lance going to be. Plus the 49ers offensive line. I think where I'm getting a little concerned about is just pretty much just like where the competition is really going to like force them to be in a pressurized situation in my kind of point of view.
Well, hold on. So we got Tampa and the Rams ahead of them. But I think after that, you're talking Niners, Packers, who lost some wide receivers,
I'll
and
circle them with them, the Niners, as like
New
the next
Orleans.
team.
Let's not forget about New Orleans. They lost Sean Payton. They lost Drew Brees. It'll be interesting to see what they have after that. But Jameis Winston was 5-2 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Even freaking Taysom Hill, when he played, has a winning record. And now they have Andy Dalton. So I think a big reason they weren't in the playoffs last year is they were starting freaking Trevor Siemian and Ian Book down the stretch. They're a team that's going to have a winning record. That's another team the Niners have to contend with and play. As you mentioned, Philly. Dallas?
I think Dallas is going to be stinky this year. They lost a lot of talent, man.
Okay.
They lost a lot. I can't take it. I think the Eagles are the favorite in that division. And then obviously, we already shunned the Commanders. At least I did.
The Niners are contending for third in the NFC, and they do actually match up, or they have matched up well with the Rams in the past. Mm-hmm. So that's good. At the same time, there's a bunch of teams that are right there with them. And it's interesting that Philly's one of them. You say like, oh, well, Jalen Hurts isn't that great. Well, I mean, he's kind of similar to Trey Lance, and has more experience. So I wouldn't just right. I actually kind of like Jalen Hurts. He's not great, but I think he's above average. He's good. He's good.
Yeah, I think he's like slightly above average. You know what? No, that's a lie. I think he's average, but I think this is the year where, since they loaded him with AJ Brown, is now okay. Now we hope we can get this average player to have those above average moments with this talent. Yes. And you hope in some way, somehow, that also turns into natural development. I mean, we'll see. I think this is like their final like hurrah with Jalen Hurts before maybe they consider pivoting in a couple years. But yeah, regardless, I mean, you can't say you gave Jalen Hurts an AJ Brown type caliber player and Devontae Smith and a decent running game and not say they're going to be better.
I got one more team, and it's like they're always kind of like a disappointment. But if they ever were to make a move, this would be the year. Hear me out before you scoff. The Vikings. Okay, hold on. Let me tell you why. First of all, new coach. Zimmer's gone, right? And they brought in like a Rams guy. So it's going to be sort of the Rams offense. Kirk Cousins has played in that before in Washington. And that division is down. Lions, terrible. Bears, terrible. Packers not as good as last year without Devontae Adams. So maybe the Vikings are a team that is something like in that cluster of tier 2 teams in the NFC. Vikings.
Yeah, I give them a puncher's chance. Like they're not someone to look over or scoff at for sure. And I've been loving watching the Vikings for years, especially when they had Stephon Diggs and Thielen together. They were nasty.
Year 3 of Justin Jefferson,
as
he's
chasing
the bag.
Jefferson, those two.
Yes.
I think it's about like health and how good is their secondary on defense, really. I mean, like you said, they have offensive minded, so you hope the offense gets a little more oomph, which, you know, the offense was never really the issue, Minnesota. It typically was their defense. And so, you lost Zimmer, you lost a dinosaur in him who was always had like a little tunnel vision with whatever he operated down there. But I think that's the concern with me is just, can their defense hold up? I mean, good that Devontae Adams is gone because now you can compete better in that division. You don't have to like stress some more. Feel like you're getting pressured on your defense on the back of your heels, as I'm sure the Packers always did to them. I think they won't be overlooked. They're not going to be like nothing, but I wouldn't put them in that top upper echelon with like the Niners and like even the Eagles and stuff like that. And I mean, and then I want to circle back. You talked about the Saints. I'm stiff arming the Saints too. I just see it as such a fat gap. I mean, it's really just those teams like the Rams, the Bucks, the Eagles, the Niners, and kind of even the Packers to a degree. And then you have like the gap, and then you have those other teams like the Saints, like the Vikings, because I mean, sure, Jameis is not that bad. First of all, he's a capable quarterback in that offense for sure. You got Kamara, you're getting Michael Thomas back, you got Chris Olave, so that offense should be booming to a degree. But Dallas Allen, your head
that's
coach?
the question. How valuable was Sean Payton? I'm thinking extremely valuable. But the Eagles are interesting because I'm always looking at the team with the third-year starter that's loaded up in free agency because the quarterback's still cheap, but he's got experience. And this year, it's Cincinnati and the Chargers. But it's also Philly. And they just made this big win-now move, spending all this money on A.J. Brown. It's like, while we're not spending on a quarterback, let's spend quarterback money on a wide receiver. Yep. That's what the Niners are going to be doing with Debo soon as well. So, pretty good team.
Defense is pretty top notch. Like, you're not messing around with that defense. They'll punk you around.
Lorenzo Gonzalez says, moving away from quarterback for a minute, tired of getting beat deep all year. Word is not Jackson, but have we solidified the cornerback room? Week 1 name starters 1, 2, 3.
It's solidified.
It's going to be most likely. I mean, you got Ward and Mosley are your known quantities. If Jason Verrett is suddenly what he was 2 years ago, that changes everything. But I don't really expect Jason Verrett to make the team. I think that's kind of like a Hail Mary. So if he doesn't make the team, then number 1 is Ward, number 2 is Mosley, number 3 is whoever the nickelback is. I don't think Mosley's going to slide in and play 2 positions. I think they're going to get a nickelback. It'll either be Womack, Denard, or Lenore. Is going to have it'll be like a 4-way competition for it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure. I don't put any chips on Jason Verrett's name. He's been D4'd to me since even entering last year, despite coming off 2020 year. You can't really just put your hopes in this guy. It's like a perfect scenario we just said. Yeah, it's a home run shot here, Hail Mary shot, and if it works out, he sustains health for a good portion of the season. Boom, we are freaking golden.
You know who CB3 should be, the nickel? DJ Reed, but they let him go. Should have been him. And that's why they had to draft Sam Womack.
We don't talk about old stuff anymore, Grant. All right,
bring up old stuff.